Hello, and welcome to the Average Joe podcast. I'm your host here, Joe, and today we're talking the danger zone. And so, Kevin Samuels, he talks about this like danger zone, and this is women who are 27 to 35. And my 27th birthday is coming up in a few days. Dun dun dun. And I'm really nervous about it. Like, it is like really scary, really daunting. Like, I'm hitting my latter years of my 20s, and the good years are kind of like going goodbye. And so I'm like, okay, well, wow. Because I have been watching him a lot. And so a lot of my channel is going to be a lot about like the topics and the women that he's speaking to, spoken to. Yeah. I watched a video recently about women who are entering this danger zone or in the danger zone. And he just just talks about these women. And he places us because this is like the time, you're, no longer like in the, 18 to 25, 26 year, fresh young cake. You're kind of like, a little bit more stern and sturdy in your way. So that's, one of the things he was like, dangerous because, we're a little bit more, less likely to change. We're kind of like more stuck in our ways. We're kind of like who we are. It's kind of like take us as we are kind of thing. And 35 is like when, you hit this zone of like the high pregnancy rate. And, one of the things about, marriage and all these things is being fertile, being able to reproduce and, taking care of a household and, being all this domesticated things. So he, kind of just talks about this woman in this like period. And I'm just like, how do I feel? It's really scary because I'm just thinking we all know women this daunting number is 30. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm only 3 years away. It's right in my peripheral vision. And I'm like, what am I doing? And am I ready? What's going on with me that's going to make sure that I find who I'm looking for and what went wrong before to try to correct those things. So talks about people's previous relationships, and I'm maybe one of the rarities. I've never really had a boyfriend per se. So I don't really have any, relationship experience to kind of go off. So I'm like, well, hey, maybe I'm good. And not as I'm easily moldable. Cause that's one thing that he talks about being, very easily amendable and, submissive and, domesticated, feminine. I'm, all these things that I wasn't necessarily focused on in my, early years. I was just kind of out here, just living life. If you'd asked me at 21, 22, marriage, it was just it's just, I wasn't necessarily as focused, or it wasn't so much as a thought, as it should be, or as I am focused on now. And he talked so much about that. It's well, when, you were in your prime, why wasn't that your target? Why weren't you out there seeking and trying to get this guy? And, why weren't, even you as the person? Because I even asked myself, am I marriable? Is somebody going to see me and be like, yes, you are the one I'm going to want to marry. And I want to give a little bit of an example. I had some friends who they talked to the same guy. And one of them, it went nowhere for 2 years. And then this same guy dated some, other girl, another girl, unbeknownst to each other. These girls don't know each other from a dime, whatever. And in 2 years, it's already their talks of, marriage and all these things. And it was I kind of wonder, because I know the both of them. I'm like, well, what is it about you that he saw that yes, you're marriable, you're the one that I could do, and that he didn't see in her. And I sat down and I broke it down, with myself, and I was like, oh, it completely makes sense. It completely makes sense why he chose her. It would have, he would have never married you. He was like seemingly wasting your time. You were wasting your time with him. She was the one. She's domesticated. She's very feminine. She's submissive. She's like, in tune with this family. She's in tune with this culture. She's educated. She's like, she's all those things that you'd want in a wife. And I looked at my other friend and I was like, you're like not none of those things, but you're just not any of those things. It would have never worked with him. And I was like, and when, the other girls saw it, she herself kind of looked and was like, oh, it would have never worked. And it really stung her. But I, looked at herself and I was like, well, are you taking the qualities and things and taking it into a deeper aspect to look and see like why he chose to marry her? Why he's choosing to take that further step that he wouldn't take with you. And, these people, that I'm not going to say like they're best friends, but they ended up like clashing social circles. So they, have become familiar with one another. And I that was just like a good example. I was just like, and I told you it was like, even with myself, I had somebody who looked at me and told me like, yeah, I'm kicking it with you, but like, this is the type of girl that I know I'm going to marry. And you're like, that hurts. But like, I looked at this person and I'm like, okay, this is, especially the kind of guy I'm looking for. Like he was, quote unquote, this high value, guy. Like this is what I'm looking for. So, what is it about her that made, her the marriable type and me just the girlfriend, kick it around girl, situationship type of person. So I'm just looking to, see like, how I can, put myself in a position to be marriable. And it's like, it is a work in progress because like, I don't want to blame men because it's not their fault that I wasted my time with them. Like I should have saw like 2 months and 3 months, like, this isn't going to work, like, and moved on to the next one. And, even sometimes like, why are you even attracting these kind of men? Like, is it something, about me? So I'm just like this whole danger zone thing. I'm just like getting into it. I'm hoping that like, I'm able to take a deeper look at myself and see, what I have done wrong in my quote unquote prime and how I can correct that now getting into this danger zone because it is kind of scary. It is kind of nerve wracking to know that, you are kind of like entering some cool pivotal moments in your life alone and kind of like just lost out here kind of by yourself. And, glad that I've been able to take, some deeper looks into myself, that I've been, getting in tune with my femininity, like understanding, like, what makes somebody marriable? Why did she, so that I can look at that and, try to emulate that. I talk to, one of my married friends, like on a daily basis, and we dissect a lot of, our friends and some of the reasons why they, aren't, and it's because, and I'm like, why can't we tell them these things? Like, why can't you, and like, I've been kind of like researching and studying on these things, like, and these women are all in the danger zone. And I'm like, and they're getting into the latter, years of the danger zone. And I'm like, why can't we tell them? One of my friends sat around and was in like some 3-year relationship kind of thing with some guy that would have never worked. And I'm like, why did you waste your time? And we all knew. And it was like, she didn't take that advice from us. And even, the 2 girls, like one of my friends told her like, no, it's never going to work with that dude. Like, don't even waste your time. And she still went in for it. And it's like, did we, I know we waste, it's like, I wasted my time. It's like, we wasted our time. You have some people who, are still, like, can I run a household? Like you're talking about marriage, like you're talking about running a household, family events, like, are you stable, in yourself? And like, when the girl's like, she's able to like go to the mother-in-law's house and, be around the siblings and special occasions and always be there and cook and clean and do all those things to the family and to the man. Cause like when you marry also the family, and it's like, being that wife, especially like we come in an African, like, you know how it is with us. So I, didn't necessarily take those things serious. And like now it's like all hitting me like, a ton of bricks. But, it's very eye-opening to me. And I'm just like kind of wondering why it's not eye-opening to like the women around me, because I'm just like, okay, do you know that it is, your, our, not our fault, I want to say it like that, but do you know we could do some things to make sure that we're in a better position and that we are more suitable so that, and then we could spot the red flags like ahead of the time, because like, we don't got time to waste. Like I make this channel and I talk about, Kevin and other like feminine, people who talk about relationships and, women and why we're not married, all these things. Like I talk about this because it's, super, important to me. So, cause like when I want to get, have kids, like I want to have a household and like build like a family, and I wanted to like quote unquote the right way, but then I looked at it myself like, okay, what is it about me that's like kind of led me to be in this like lost zone? And I'm been that's why I've been kind of looking into it and really talking to like like my married friends, who like, okay, like how did you know, like what did you do, what what is it like, how is it like running a household, those like all like the 360. And this danger zone is like so real. I'm so nervous. Like, y'all, my birthday is like in a few days. Like, I'm gonna go live my best life in Tulum, but I come back and it's still a reality. Like, it's just me in my house. It's just you go to work, you come back, and like I'm like, I don't want another year or two to keep trekking by, and I'm still just kind of figuring it out. Like, I kind of want a little bit of having the answer. So please like, comment, subscribe below, and like let me know like, how is, are you nervous at being in the danger zone? Like, how is it turning 30? Are you 30? Are you nervous about 30? How is it trying to find, a husband? Or, have you found your husband? How'd you find him? Are you looking, is the guy you're dating now, like, really going to be your husband? Or, like, really somebody you really see yourself with? And I'm like, if you know that now, like, don't wait another 6-8 months or a year or, waste any more of your time. Like, nip it in the butt now, because like we waste so much time dealing with people that have other plans for themselves. Like one of my friends, like, I hope I won't just be a person talking about my friends, but I had one of my friends like sit around with a dude and waste like 2-3 years with this guy. And like when I tell you he had a plan, y'all, the whole time, like he was in jail, and he just needed somebody to kind of keep him company the whole time that he was going to be doing his little bid, and she was there. Flying there, take, phone calls on the phone with him, catering, like doing all those things. And when he came, he spent 6 months and then was out. And I'm like, and she's like so heartbroken. And I feel so bad, but I'm just like, but that was like, that was a strong possibility. Like so many people were saying these possibilities, and it was like, how did you put yourself in it? You're a smart, beautiful, educated Black woman. You're like 26, 27 at that time. Like you still had, some good time. Why did you waste it on this guy who, and he, like, my thing was like, he had a plan, y'all. Like it was strategic. Like he, had a signed lease, had somewhere to stay for a while, got his probation, got off the ankle monitor, all that. And then was like, oh yeah, bet I'm out. I got my own apartment, got my car, I'm all set. You good, right? Like, I, hope you figure out what you do. Like, I'm back to my, other chicks and other girls that I really want to be with. And she's so heartbroken, and I'm, like, so heartbroken for her, because I'm just like, dang, like, so many women fall into that trap, and we don't have that time, especially in the danger zone, to be wasting on some dude. Like, I'm like, I don't want to have any time to waste. You don't have any time to waste. So, like, I make this video to say I'm nervous. But as I'm entering this danger zone, I'm glad that I'm getting more in tune with myself and trying to figure it all out, and I hope you guys are all going to stay on this journey with me so that we can all figure it out, you guys, because like, the goal is to have, a nuclear household, a husband, some kids, businesses, houses, the whole shebang, like the goal is that. So like, what can I do now so that's my future? So, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think about this.